He spent millions on a pizza. Yes, you heard that right. I'll explain in just a moment. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So I've been unsure of what kind of voiceovers to do, as I also feel like explanation videos might get boring, so today, I'll be trying something new. Drumroll please. Storytelling. And yes, I know it's not that exciting, but I thought I'd try something different and see how it goes. Now let's get started. Most people think the biggest mistakes in history involve wars, inventions, or governments, but one of the most expensive mistakes ever made came down to one person, one moment, and one decision that seemed completely harmless at the time. What's wild is that you've probably never heard this story. Because if you were this person, you'd probably want to forget it ever happened. Let's go back to the year 2010. Bitcoin had just been created the year before. It wasn't famous, it wasn't valuable, and most people didn't even think it would survive. Bitcoin wasn't something you invested in, it was something you experimented with. People traded it for fun, for jokes, and for novelty. There was a programmer named Laszlo Hanyecz, a normal guy who was into coding and experimenting with new technology. He was one of the early people messing around with Bitcoin, mining it on his computer just to see how it worked. Back then, mining Bitcoin was easy. You could do it on a regular laptop with no massive setup. Because mining was so simple, Laszlo mined thousands of Bitcoins, and they were worth basically nothing. One day, he had a simple idea. He posted on an online forum and said that he would pay 10,000 Bitcoin if someone ordered him 2 pizzas. That was it. No deep meaning, no master plan. He just wanted pizza. Think about that for a second. He didn't offer 10 Bitcoin or 100. He offered 10,000, because at the time that amount felt insignificant, like offering someone a handful of arcade tokens. After a little while, someone actually accepted the deal and ordered him 2 Papa John's pizzas. Pepperoni, delivered right to his door. Laszlo sent them 10,000 Bitcoin in return, and just like that, the first real-world Bitcoin transaction ever was completed. At the time, no one thought this was a big deal. It was kind of a joke. People laughed about it online, said, "Wow, you paid digital money for pizza," and then moved on. But here's the crazy part. Those 2 pizzas cost about $40. Today, those 10,000 Bitcoin would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes over 300 million depending on the market, all for 2 pizzas. Imagine biting into that first slice, not knowing each bite would one day be worth tens of millions. Imagine being known forever as the person who spent a fortune on pizza. And before you say, well, he couldn't have known, that's exactly what makes this story so painful. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't make a stupid decision. He just made a normal decision before the world changed. What's even crazier is that Laszlo doesn't really regret it. In interviews, he's said Bitcoin didn't have value back then, and if he hadn't done it, someone else would have. And he's right. That transaction proved Bitcoin could actually be used. It gave it legitimacy and showed it wasn't just internet monopoly money. But still, try telling that to yourself at 3 a.m, knowing you once held something that could have changed your entire life forever and you traded it for pizza. And here's the part people don't talk about. Laszlo didn't stop there. He kept spending Bitcoin casually because no one knew. He wasn't trying to become rich. He was just experimenting. This story isn't really about Bitcoin. It's about timing. It's about how history only makes sense after it happens. We love to judge the past using information that didn't exist at the time, forgetting how uncertain everything felt in the moment. If you think about it, how many things that you may consider worthless exist right now that might be priceless one day? How many ideas, apps, trends, or technologies are we all ignoring because they seem pointless? How many of us would trade them away without a second thought, not realizing what they could eventually become? That's what makes this situation so fascinating. It isn't dramatic or emotional. It's just human. Laszlo didn't lose money. He gained pizza. And he gained something else too, a permanent place in history. Every year people still celebrate Bitcoin Pizza Day, recreating the moment and talking about it like a legend. And somewhere out there, Laszlo is just a guy who wanted dinner. So the next time you make a small decision that feels meaningless, remember that history is full of moments that only matter later. Sometimes the biggest mistakes in the world don't feel like mistakes at all until it's way too late. Also, those pizzas weren't even that good. And that's how buying pizzas became a huge part of internet history and history itself. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this style video. Please don't forget to subscribe, as it always makes me excited to see my channel grow and for our community to expand.